I have a solution for your shitty government. Moving to fucking Canada.
Welcome to the Forum Thread Podcast, number 28, 27, and 2/3. However we want to say it. This is our first official podcast at our new date and time here on Wednesday nights. Here with us today, we have Chaos Mana.
Hey!
There he is. He's about to pull a wub wave and just not say anything. And Ray.
Hello.
Mr. Fusion.
What up, everybody?
We have the rare treat of Jan Lee.
lagging behind goodness.
Well,
You don't know how to
we'll
pronounce my name yet?
I could not remember how it was supposed to be pronounced. Please, remind me.
Tijin Lee.
Tijin Lee!
Yeah.
Rewind. And here with us, we also have the rare treat of Tijan Lee.
Woo!
And Indie Renegade.
Hi there.
And we've got a really, really interesting night lined up. We've got Grand Theft Auto 5 Online. Indie's got some news about some games she's been playing with Mass Effect. And what should we kick this off with, guys?
How about the fact that technically we have no government? I don't want to go into politics, but I find this kind of funny.
I would like to hear it because I only heard about it and I'm utterly confused because it's like it's 1950 something. It's the Cold War again. Like what's going on?
Haven't you heard the government is off playing Grand Theft Auto 5 right now?
It's utterly absurd what is going on
They're
right
playing
now.
chicken with taxpayer dollars. So.
That's
But
not
pretty
actually
much.
for real, is
But
it?
No, it's for real.
It's for real.
No,
but,
that is for real. Yeah.
800,000
to make
people
to
are
make
not
everyone
working
feel
right now.
better, just so you can all have your nerves calmed. Every single congressional leader, dickhead on Capitol Hill did get
All
their
of them.
paycheck yesterday. So just so you know,
They didn't?
Yeah, that's-
they got paid.
They
That
did.
was something that really irritated me. I'm like, okay, so we have it's not a complete government shutdown, but it's a partial government shutdown.
All
all
non-essential.
the parks are closed. Lots of stuff is not functioning, but out of everything that is still functioning, they're making sure that every citizen is still paying the government their money.
Yep.
So it reminds me a bit of like we were talking when we were bashing Microsoft a while ago. It's like, they're not giving you very good service, but they're going to make sure you pay for that lousy service.
I have a solution for your shitty government. Moving to Canada.
So says the foreigner.
Remember the
Why don't we
Canucks
just
is-
become
fucking
Canada?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Is that what you're going to say?
I can fully attest to that. As an outsider to your country, but also as your hat.
Outsider.
You guys done fucked up just too much.
What would happen if your guys' government just stopped? Well, the same thing, kind of?
It won't because...
I mean, if it does.
It won't.
Just saying.
Hypothetically, well, under Harper, yeah.
Do you think, like, what did Iceland do? Where they just, like, broke down the entire government and restarted it? Or Australia,
Well, it's
they
hard at
fired
first.
all the
Yes, it's
politicians?
difficult at first, but sometimes you do need political reform, and America is probably way due for that, just saying.
We'll just break down.
Democracy, freedom.
To break down
yeah,
what-
shut the
to
fuck
break
up
down
and
what
reassess
happened.
what it's all actually about.
We
'Cause
have.
it's not about democracy and freedom. It really isn't.
I agree. What happened was there hasn't been a budget that's been approved and implemented since 2009. And the big debate...
Kind of embarrassing.
At this point, the big argument is the Republicans are standing their ground against the Democrats in that they want Obamacare, which is the Affordable Health Care Act, to be repealed, changes, whatever. And the Democrats are standing their ground. Obama's saying, no, we're not making any changes. The Republicans say, okay, fine, we don't want it completely gone. Well, how about some provisions to it? No, nothing. So both sides are acting like assholes.
Well, and it's not even the entire Republican Party that completely wants it done away with. It's like a portion of the
Party. Well,
Republican
My
Party.
The
entire
Tea Party
state
does.
just decided to switch over to the Democrat side, so I'm happy about that.
Now-
All
Yeah,
Republicans in my state.
Now, the fear was normally with a government shutdown, even at the early stages, the partial shutdown, the military does not get paid. But at midnight on Monday night, at midnight Tuesday morning,
Oh,
they
they did
did
pass
sign
that.
a they did pass a bill that the military will continue to get paid. So the major body of people, the group of people that weren't going to get paid, are going to get paid. Now
In
that
what
doesn't mean
universe are they non-essential?
exactly. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's the way they rule it is essential government workers have to go to work, and they will continue to pay most of them. Now, from
Most
what
of
I
them.
understand, there's about 4.3 million government employees. About 800 are not getting paid. So that's like Parks and Recreation. Some of those groups aren't being paid right now. Nobody at this point is being furloughed, which is of course, you're taking unpaid time off, and you won't get that money back. Uh,
So
but
yeah, we're gonna keep you working. You're gonna be in a job, but you're
but
not gonna be
the scary
paid.
thing is with the central employees, if they run out of funds, they will have to continue to work. So Social Security offices around the country will continue to work even if they run out of funds. Now, there's a fear that they will run out of funds to pay these essential offices October 15th. That may not be the case. There may be changes. They're more than likely going to raise the debt ceiling in the next few days, which is another thing altogether because it's just
Yeah.
it's bad math. I mean, if you break it all down, it's bad math. We're spending more than we're bringing in. That's just basic family economics. We're spending more than we're bringing in.
It's basic,
But
basic arithmetic.
yeah, exactly. And so
That's what
at this
happens when the
point,
U.S. gets to be world police.
at this
I
point,
think the
we're
U.S.
still.
needs some common sensonomics. That's what the U.S.
Well,
needs. I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. I'm such a foreigner, and you could all be hunting me with knives right now, but
Oh,
just
now she thinks that we use knives instead of guns like civilized people.
Yeah, I use a
She's
machete.
so
Make it
hoity-toity.
anyway.
don't worry. You can come get me in
Miss
my Arctic
Canadian.
cave, okay? I dare you to even make the journey.
It's cold up there. Are you crazy? I'm gonna wait till it's warm again.
How far
Damn
north
right.
are you?
It's never warm
You,
up
no,
there.
you're just gonna bring
Well, I
you're just gonna
was
bring a
living.
flamethrower up there.
Yeah,
Well,
it's-
actually, I was living more north than St. Petersburg and Moscow. To
That's
put that
high.
into your perspective.
Okay, I tell you what. When they successfully de-extinct the woolly mammoths and they put them up on in the permafrost
Which
up
is
there,
soon,
I will
which is soon.
I will come and visit you. How about that? Because I'll have a good reason. I'll go see the woolly mammoths.
That's the only reason.
Okay.
You know-
There's wild grizzly bears where I was living. Like,
No.
you could see them walking.
I don't care about the
on-
grizzly
Everybody
bears.
has bears, whatever.
Yeah,
Bears?
we need the woolly mammoths again. That's gonna be a thing, you know. Or
We had auroras though. Get that in.
those
that's
are
pretty
pretty.
I
Yeah.
used to walk across a lake to get to work and back every day and night. And the lake would be frozen 4 meters deep in the center,
Oh wow.
so it was safe to actually drive ATVs over the lakes, and it was not uncommon that people would be having hockey matches in the middle of a lake.
I don't care how cold it is. I'm not standing on ice.
That's
Well,
the way it is in
and
Michigan.
it
You have,
stays
like, what do
frozen.
you use
can
for-
walk on? You can walk
What
on
would you
them
use
until
to
April.
prevent traction or to prevent from slipping? That's what I'm trying to say.
To create traction.
There we go. That's what I'm
You
saying.
can sometimes put chains on your tires, but usually you don't need them. If it's in Michigan in the wintertime, the smaller lakes completely freeze over, and you can drive your trucks right on out there, and all you need is just some snow tires with some good grip on it. Doesn't take a lot.
Yeah, it would make sense.
Ooh, brings back memories. I used to go I went ice fishing a few times where you have this little shanty out on the lake and you have to cut a hole through this thick ass ice and then you can either I think we usually went spear fishing. You have a little bait fish down there on a hook that kind of swims around in a circle, luring the bigger fish that you want to spear into your range.
What's your biggest
But,
catch?
How much drinking did you do when you were ice fishing? That's the big question.
You don't really keep track.
Yeah.
You just bring
when you-
lots of
when you-
bottles, and they're gone
When you run
by
out
the
of
end.
beer, that's when the ice fishing is over. When you run out of beer, and since it's really cold out and the beer stays ice cold, right outside the door, you don't even need a cooler, so you can literally just stack it outside.
Hmm.
And then of course you have a little heater on the inside. It's cold enough to where the heater's it can't even begin melting the ice that it's so thick. But you're nice and toasty inside, sitting here on the ice and drinking beer, so you also feel warm all over because of the alcohol, and and you got a spear in your hand for the fish down there. You're like, oh yeah, this is a lot of fun. As long as you're there with someone you enjoy spending time with. If you're there with someone you can't stand, well, then you shouldn't have gone in the first place.
So has the Canuck in the podcast, has she done some ice fishing? Have you, Indy?
Me? No. I never went ice fishing.
Why not?
Although a lot of people did in Yellowknife, it's entirely common for people to do that. I never did. I never really did anything in the way of hunting. Unfortunately, I wish I did go out with my dad more often and go get the moose while they were in season. But we did eat a lot of really really fresh gamey meat that my dad did kill.
I was moose.
A few moose. Moose is it's delicious.
I really like moose, so I don't want to
imagine
eat
it would
but I
taste
really
kind of
want to eat
gamey.
it.
It is gamey. It's very gamey. Because it's shot in the wild. They don't grow them in factories the way that they do with chickens.
I don't get
really.
the gamey
No.
taste. Like, I've eaten rabbit, I've eaten deer. I don't understand how that's gamey.
It's
because there's a significant difference in taste between something that was killed the night before and something that was produced in a factory and packaged and sent via a frozen truck.
So that's just it?
Where
It's
the
just...
animal exactly was, or was it the time between when it was killed?
Yeah, usually the meat is a little bit more chewy in the wild because they have to fight for their own survival and they're get a lot of exercise, run a lot, and then the diet that they have is a lot different too. So you get that flavor in the meat, and especially like if you like with rabbits, especially that's what I notice the most because they get that burst of adrenaline through their bodies as you're hunting them. Because usually, you kick them up, they're running for their lives. You shoot them, and they're panicking as they're dying. And so there's a lot of adrenaline and testosterone and other higher levels of these hormones in their bodies and in their muscles. So when you eat them, you have this really strong flavor that isn't usually there in stuff you'd buy from the store, which has been like domesticated meat that just kind of walks right up to the slaughter, like, oh, kill me, I don't know any better. So it's a definite thing. It's just kind of hard to describe the flavor difference, but it's there. It is there.
Yeah, that
I actually
makes
tried
sense.
as something really interesting in Yellowknife. I got to taste whale meat.
Oh boy.
Whoa.
I've never had whale before.
Yep.
Whoa.
I have had whale meat, fresh whale meat from the northern coast, right where the mainland of Canada ends and where the islands begin.
There's like 30 of
it was
those left in
caught
the
in
world.
that
Do you
area.
feel good about yourself?
I wasn't there, but it was caught that area and it was brought down to where I was living in a town called Yellowknife, and I got to taste it. Whale has a very I am from the ocean kind of taste. That's how I describe it. It is very, very, very salty and quite fatty as well. So I can see how some people could consider it a delicacy, but for a lot of people, the saltiness would really be intense. But as someone who comes from the Maritimes of Canada, which is where culturally we eat a lot of salt, for me it was fine.
Oh
So,
yeah.
Yeah, it was nice. I'd have some again.
I have to think about this. Do I want to try a whale?
I don't think I would.
It's not bad. Like, I had a taste. It wasn't like a large chunk. It was like a bite-sized little piece.
I mean,
So,
I've had
I mean,
ostrich.
I had it for taste.
I've had
Oh, ostrich is really good.
bison.
What does that taste like?
Ostrich, imagine a really big chicken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of tastes like that.
Okay.
right?
Well, you know how you said you say like
Yummy.
have you had elk? Has anyone had elk?
Nope.
On the
I have
podcast?
not had elk.
Okay.
No.
Okay, well then with the moose, you know how it's very gamey. Imagine that in chicken form.
Yeah. Like
okay,
the
that
the
sounds
meat
good.
the meat is a lot thicker because the
yes.
ostrich has to hold up has a lot more weight. Yeah, and so it's a thicker consistency.
It's a little.
Than chicken.
It's a lot tougher because they're stronger. You know, the muscle fibers are stronger.
So when you say tougher, is it like a white meat but tough like a red meat?
yes,
Yes.
Kind of like that?
it's kind of like
Okay.
eating a grilled swordfish, like a swordfish steak. It's almost
I
like
love
that.
swordfish.
It's kind of like a cross between buffalo and really gamey. I'm trying to think of the best way to say it.
I am so going to send this podcast to my vegetarian vegan friends.
But you know, there is a place here in Houston where It's actually interesting. They have a drive-through, but it's Big Game Burgers where they make burgers out of all types of
What?
game, and they have an ostrich burger there. So I had to try it once.
Oh wow.
Fusion, let's go. Let's go to the RTX. We need to go out and eat sometime.
Well,
okay?
no, there are several restaurants in Austin that do cater to exotic games. So yes, you can try all
Wow.
that.
That
So-
would be
I had a
brilliant.
friend I have a friend at work who has claimed to have eaten lion. I think she's full of it because she was 20 at the time and she went up to New York for a day from college, and apparently some guy just came up to her group and asked her if they wanted to eat lion. So, and they apparently said yes, and they went to a very shady
Oh.
place in an alley, and they had lion. I'm using quotation fingers. You can't see them. She paid $60 for this burger.
I'm sorry, I can't take that any other way than the dirty way.
Creep.
Said, baby, you want to try some lion? Why don't you come back over here?
Well,
try some
she
lion.
paid $60 for a burger, and when she told me this story, I'm like, "So you ate a $60 regular burger?" And she's like,
No, she
"No,
ate a
no."
six-
And I'm like,
It was in an
"You ate
alley.
cow."
She ate a $60 rat
Yeah,
burger.
no, she ate a
Probably.
$60
Did it
New York
also come
rat
with
burger.
McDonald's
She's like, "It tasted
secret
different." I'm
sauce?
like, "It
You know
probably
what they
wasn't even
serve? You
real
know what they
cow."
serve in the alleys in New York? Rat Kings. You know what Rat Kings
Yes.
What are those?
Basically, what happens is that
Enlighten this Canadian.
they're in the sewers of New York. There are just so many rats that in some areas they just basically fuse together to create one big
Have you heard of mole people?
Yeah,
We have rat people.
we have rat kings where they just basically they're still alive and still alive, but they fuse together to become one big mass, and they call
Like
those
the
rat kings.
Megazord.
Yeah.
What the
But
fuck?
of
Yeah,
rats.
like the Megazord, exactly. Yeah, it's
What?
yes,
Yes,
like,
They
it's
come
totally
together
true.
like
they
Voltron, what?
Devastator. They're the Devastator of rodents. I mean, it's so.
Wait, is it just
Voltron
because they're
rat, what
bigger,
the
or do they
fuck?
literally like?
No. Their
That's
tails.
hilarious.
Okay, look. Look
Why
at
has
their tails.
Voltron never
Their tails
met
intertwine,
Megazord?
and then they're stuck together. And then when you add bacteria, just everything in the fucking sewer, they just start fusing together.
Ah.
This
That
sounds
makes
like
no
deep
fucking
science.
sense.
How'd you learn about this?
Is this
Just-
a Mythbusters or something? Can we get Mythbusters on this?
you could just,
please?
you know what? Go.
Sure, I've got them on
Google
speed
it.
dial.
Go Google Rat Kings, and you'll probably just.
I don't feel like I
you'll
should.
puke all over the place, but.
Yeah, that's
That
one of those things on the
Do you
internet
really
that
think
you
you're gonna run
cannot
into porn?
unsee.
But see, being Mexican and spending time south of the border partying, I can tell you rule number one: if you eat something that you purchase on the street, the first rule of street club is you don't ask what it is. You never ask what it is.
I thought the
So-
first rule would be don't eat that.
No.
Yeah.
When it's
No.
3 in the
How
morning,
about you don't buy something that was
and you're
sold
drunk
to
as
you on a
shit.
street corner?
well, not necessarily because there's some really good pizza places in New York that are on the
And
street
some
corner.
really good rat
Well,
burgers.
yeah, and like actual
dogs.
food trucks and stuff. But
But
like, if it's like some shitty guy in an alley, that's not.
What if you
Licensed food truck guy, that's
disguise
like
like a really
shitty guy in
fancy
alley.
restaurant and then like hid it under the cover in the alley? So if anyone was actually brave enough to try it, they'd see like fine leather seats, and it would be this super decor. But otherwise, it would just look like an alleyway.
That would
Yeah, I found certain places like that. I will have to agree. I've found certain places like that where they're kind of down a shitty alleyway, but I found great bars and pubs that were beautiful on the inside. And you wouldn't know from with its surroundings.
Well, in Austin, there's a couple of clubs and bars that you have to go through the alleys because the main street bars and clubs, the real popular ones charge cover. But there are a couple that used to. The best way to get to them is through the alleyways. I don't know if they do that anymore because I know a lot of them shut down. But when I was in college, there were a couple really cool places you could go to, but you had to go through the alley, and you had to kind of wade through piss and other bodily fluids.
All our gay bars are down alleys.
Yeah. I don't doubt
in
that.
a
Oh, you would know?
Well, yeah, I know where they are.
Hey,
Excellent.
gay bars have the best drinks.
they
They
do.
do.
They really take care of you.
And fantastic music usually.
If
Except
you like
for the guy
club
that was
music.
like dropping his instrument, the instrument or whatever.
Well, you go to a club music. You go to the club to listen to the music because you're gonna dance to it, and that's what club music is. It's to
Yes.
dance to. You're gonna shake your booty.
You speak my language. You speak my language so hard.
That girl's she's gonna love Austin, man. She's not gonna want to leave. She's not gonna want to leave.
Well, typical friggin' 20-something white girl. What do you think? Yes, I'll love Austin. Yeah.
There were a couple of RTers that went. They didn't want to leave after spending a week over there.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
kind of
really?
one of them. I'm like, I want to stay here. It's nice.
You're like telling your boyfriend,
I
"Can
think
we
I want to
just
take like a
stay?"
bit of a week off and actually explore Austin because it just seems like such a fascinating city. So
what-
I want
that's
to go
what
for
I
RTX,
did
but I
last
want to
year.
spend some time there.
That's what I did last year, like RTX 2012. Like we just spent the entire week there. It was
Oh,
awesome.
yeah. Austin is
But see-
basically my favorite city ever.
But see, Chaos is an hour away. I'm 2 hours away, so we can always make the drive over there. It's not like
You guys would like Philadelphia.
Oh yeah.
what's that?
You
Oh,
guys
yeah.
would like Philadelphia.
That's true.
Yeah, why?
It's nice. Good beer.
Never been there.
Really good beer.
Good.
I'm looking at colleges right now, actually in Toronto and Montreal for next year. So Montreal's a gorgeous city.
Mhm.
Toronto's nice. You also know that all of our cities are really clean in Canada. A lot of foreigners that come through our cities, they're like, "Huh,
Well, you have like four
places are
cities.
so clean." Huh?
You have like four cities.
You're right. We got like
know-
Vancouver, Toronto, Montreal, and then like Halifax, and that's about it.
Where's
Yeah,
what
you have to
province
keep
is
those
Halifax
things
in?
clean
East
because
Coast.
they're all
It's
you.
like the one big city in the East Coast.
Ah.
It's like that's all you got. You've only got the 4, so you've got to keep them really clean. We've got like however many cities, several in each state. And we're like, let them go
It
dirty.
What does
was
it take
actually
this
really
day and
big
age to
news
make
when
a
you
city?
two came to my province, which is a tiny ass, black ass little in the middle of nowhere province. It was big news when U2 and the Arcade Fire came in and played in our province because there's literally nothing there. So it was cool of them to come by and not skip us like every other band does.
I don't know
That's
why
pretty
when you
big
brought
news
that up,
anywhere.
it
That's a pretty
reminded
big
me of
deal.
when the internet got Pitbull to go perform at a Walmart in Alaska. Did you hear about
What?
that?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
No.
Oh, I
Okay.
remember that.
Okay. I think I brought up the website before. Have you guys heard of FARC? FARK.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, anyway, years ago when Citi Field opened up in New York for the New York Mets, they had
Ooh.
I don't know if you ever heard about this, but they let the internet vote on the seventh inning stretch song, and they had a write-in column. Well, we all decided we were going to have Rick Astley's "Never Gonna Give You Up" to be the song, and it actually won, and they played it the first day. So that was the big joke then. And I think 2 years ago, the next one was on Facebook. Whichever Walmart, whatever city that there's a Walmart in has the most likes, Pitbull will the rapper Pitbull will go to that Walmart and perform there. So the internet collectively decided, especially all the people on FARC, that we were gonna get people to like this the farthest Walmart in the U.S.
So do you think they deliberately picked like the most awkward two?
What's
Because
that?
there's like, you think they just picked the most awkward?
No.
because it placed-
No, it was any Walmart within the U.S.
Okay.
It was any of them. So we found there's a Walmart in Alaska, like way out. It's like a town of like 10,000 people or something ridiculous. They ended up winning. So Pitbull went over there and performed. And he was such
Wow.
a fucking good sport about it. He thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just when you brought up the whole Arcade Fire thing, that just popped in my head, and
Did he
Okay,
get a nice
yeah.
audience?
But it
Speaking
was
of
huge
things
news when
on-
they came here.
Speaking of things on fire, let's talk about Grand Theft
I
Auto
was
5
literally
now.
about to do that segue.
oh,
You stole my
wow.
segue.
That is an amazing
Son of
transition.
a bitch. I also haven't played Grand Theft Auto,
You
so it
stole
really
it,
wouldn't have made
Dark.
sense
Me
for me.
neither.
But still,
Oh god. I'm gonna
Well,
play online. Can't wait for that.
yes.
Who has
so,
played?
Mr. Fusion, I know
I'm
you
going to
have
play the
played.
actual game, but I'm gonna wait till it dies down in price a little bit for me.
What was that, Dark?
So,
I'm working
so-
on Mass Effect 2.
okay, so I know Mr. Fusion's played. Indy is waiting. TJ and Lee
I'm
has
kind of waiting. I'm not
is
sure yet.
waiting.
I'm not sure yet.
I
I have a
have-
long backlog of games I need to play.
I have not played it.
Yeah.
I have not bought anything because I'm a broke motherfucker right now because I am in between jobs. So I've got to save my money.
But
Yeah,
congratulations,
you got a new job.
right?
Yeah,
You got a new one.
mentioned.
Yes, but it doesn't start until the 21st, and so I've got to continue to pay my bills for 3 weeks.
Well, aren't you going to work at your current place for 2 more weeks?
Oh boy.
They paid me out actually, so
Oh, really?
this was my
Oh.
last. This was my last
They
day on the
really
job
wanted
there.
you out, huh?
Yeah, so I'm still an employee, but I'm being paid the non-commission minimum amount I can possibly make, which is nice. It's like a 3-week vacation, but it means I really got to save my money because I've still got to pay my bills.
Yep. Well, that's cool.
I-
Congratulations on the new job, but Yes, I have played Grand Theft Auto 5. I've played
All
5.
right. So since you're the only one here, right?
Mhm.
Chaos and
Right.
Ray haven't played it,
God,
right?
Dark. We don't
Well,
know
I mean, you're
anything.
just you're our laugh track. You're like what's his name? Ed McMahon is to Johnny Carson, and I'm
Yeah, yeah.
dating
Heyo.
myself. Wow, that was really dating myself there. It's a
Yeah.
good game, great game.
And that's all he has to say about it. Okay.
No, I could say great fucking game, which is true.
Are you telling us all to get it?
I definitely
If
like
you have the
the
money,
Let's
go for
Play
it.
that I've seen of it.
The only one I've watched is Gavin's the How to Die. That was pretty funny. I thought that was really good.
There are many ways to die in that game, and
That's kind of
they're-
why I want to get it.
and they're very entertaining. The characters are awesome, and I'm going to say it. And I think I've said this before. Trevor is the greatest video game character ever, ever,
Ever?
ever. Once you play
However.
once you play the game, you will say this guy is fucking hilarious. He's a riot from start to finish. Voice acting's great. The gameplay's great. There are a few typical Grand Theft Auto glitches and issues that I don't understand how they can, not fix.
I hear
those.
there's no happy medium with like the shooting. They have like the auto aim and then the free aim, and there's just like kind of no happy.
Yeah, that's the main thing. I think Kotaku mentioned that on their little blog about it. Was the aiming is still a pain in the ass.
Which is going to be weird for online play, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I have not played online because it came out yesterday.
Didn't blow up.
I know a lot of guys on the website, on the Rooster Teeth website, were saying they had been trying nonstop to get on to the game and they couldn't, so they gave up. So I just didn't. I'm going to give it a few days. I'll probably play online this weekend. So.
I
You
didn't
mentioned
even
the beta
know.
for the Elder Scrolls. When you tried to get in that one weekend, the server was down within 10 minutes of you trying to get in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, that was bad. I mean, at least Chaos got to play the game for a couple hours. When I was able to log into the game, they did a shutdown maybe like 30 minutes after I played, and then after that, my character got stuck in a room and he could not open the fucking door. So
Gotta love open beta weekends.
I was like, God
well, key
damn.
beta weekends, but still, beta weekend. Gotta love it.
So, but I recommend Grand Theft Auto 5 to everyone as long as they have the money.
Yep.
I don't recommend charging it and saying I'll float myself the cash until I get paid.
I
You can
probably will
wait.
get it
You
very
can wait.
soonish. I'm
Now,
not
I didn't
sure.
even know that Grand Theft Auto Online was going to
Depends.
be a thing until a couple weeks before it was actually released. Like, did anybody else not know about this, or am
Well,
I
I
the
thought
only
I
one?
thought I
about
always
it,
thought it was
and I
interesting
was
that they were going
super
to
pumped
release
for
it
it.
after people had a chance to play the story mode,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool, I think.
So how is the online supposed to even work?
You
That-
run over hookers with other people.
Yeah. You.
That's how it
you,
works.
You.
That shouldn't even be a question.
Yeah, there's going to be like match games like Capture the Flag, that type of stuff, but there's also heists, things like that you do as a group.
Come to me, DiGiorno.
Share.
No, it's
Sam's.
mine.
I was told there was pizza.
No,
It's mine.
there's no pizza.
Aw,
There's
man.
just DiGiorno, and it's all mine.
The only reason I'm on this podcast because I
I
was
bought
told there was
like
pizza.
so much junk food with my roommate today. Well, actually, we didn't even buy that much junk food, but none of it was vegetables.
I drank a disgusting protein shake.
Vegetables.
Oh, really?
Vegetables are good. What's wrong with you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love
weeds,
vegetables.
They are delicious. What is your
No,
favorite
admittedly-
vegetable? We really don't have. I was just kidding. We don't have to get into
I
the
like
vegetable
tomatoes.
conversation. That is a fruit.
Carrots.
Tomatoes are a
Tomatoes
fruit.
and carrots are good. Oh, tomatoes fruit? Okay, I like tomatoes as a fruit.
Tomatoes and
It's
avocados
still-
are fruits.
It still blows my mind that pumpkins are fruit.
Yep.
Like that just.
Well, they have seeds.
It doesn't make.
They
It's
are
just
completely
weird.
full of seeds. That's
It-
literally what they are.
Yeah, it makes sense, but it just feels weird. I don't know.
They are a skull of seed.
But
All
when you,
gourds.
when you really think about it, so
Sounds
you're
awful.
eating spaghetti with a fruit. You're eating
Yeah.
you're eating a sandwich with a fruit. If you eat an avocado tomato sandwich, you're eating two fruits. You're eating a fruit sandwich. It's very, very interesting.
I think
I
I think
think-
avocado might be my least favorite food of all time.
Oh my god, I
Man,
love avocados.
You know, I growing up,
Right.
I hated avocados, but when I became a real health freak, I learned that avocados are like the mega fruit / vegetable because they are full of antioxidants, and they're very good for you as long as you don't put them in a big thing of grease and fry them and mix them with butter. And see, that's the problem when you
It's
start
the
making.
consistency that I
It's
can't
all
get a
in the
hang on.
preparation.
Yeah, it's all in the preparation. What I do is guacamole, just a little bit of salt, mash the avocado, put a little lime juice. That's it. You're good.
Tell you what I like. What I like to do, I'll take an avocado and I'll take about half a can of organic black beans with a little bit of sea salt. Then add about maybe an eighth of a cup of goat cheese to that.
Yeah.
Sprinkle in garlic, sprinkle in some onion powder, some chili peppers, give it some spice, and some ground cumin seed. Microwave it for about a minute, and then mix it all together. And then you can eat it with whole grain chips. Put it on bread, or just eat it right out of the bowl with a spoon.
Didn't you have a
it's
cooking show?
amazing.
Yeah, the cooking show. I remember that.
What happened to that?
My schedule and my friend Danny's schedule just has not been mashing up, so we haven't been able to get together to continue to record the show.
For our listeners, what's the show called?
Can I just interject here and say that, in relation to food, I visited Boston once with my father.
Boston.
And,
Good
and
Boston.
my
Good
stepmother
choice.
and my two siblings. Boston. Yeah, and
Boston.
we went to the Cheesecake Factory there. It blew my goddamn mind.
Oh, the Cheesecake Factory
It was
is
my first place. It
got
was
some
my first
pretty
time
good
at
stuff.
a Cheesecake Factory, and it was like, what the fuck? It was the most American hello I've ever had in my life.
it is American. I read this book
Is cheesecake
about
really
foods
American?
foods not to eat.
And a lot of their
And-
dishes are on
Factory?
there. Yes.
Yeah, and like the Cheesecake Factory had like 5 of its dishes in the top
I want to
10
eat everything
worst
in that
foods
book.
for you.
Well, is it the book the Eat This Not That?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, that's what it
Did you-
was.
I
Did you?
saw
There's a
that,
drink
yeah.
this not that, and something like 50% of the book is do not drink Jamba Juice.
Jamba Juice.
Everything is full of
Do not drink
sugar.
Jamba Juice?
Yeah, everything's full of sugar and fat. It's really bad for you.
I've
Really
never
bad,
even
Jamba
heard of
Juice.
it.
Yeah, don't
Well,
go.
As a
If-
side note to that, those like low calorie like light beers, I hate those. They're ugh.
Don't. It's
You guys
water.
ever taste
It's.
those before?
I've come to the
They're awful.
conclusion that those aren't beer. It's a completely
They're not
it's a
beer, they're
completely
like bitch
different
juice.
category of liquor. It's just
The
not
only
beer.
one
It's
I
water.
really like
Alcohol
is Bud Light. I do like Bud Light,
You're a fool.
but I prefer I like hoppy beers usually. So and I'm one of those guys that likes to try all the locally brewed stuff.
Yes.
Good man.
So whenever I go to a restaurant, I always ask what the selection of locally brewed stuff is, and so it's really hard to like find the same brands over and over again because microbreweries only give out their stuff to a certain amount of restaurants. So it's like it's always something new, and some of them are really good. Some of them have a really strong hoppy taste. Some of them are a little bit more smoother with like bitter aftertaste. And it's amazing the variety of flavors that each of these breweries has. One of them even brews the beer with it's not some brew beer with pumpkin spice, but some even brew beer with the pumpkin itself. So you actually have
Oh, okay.
a pumpkin flavor, not just the spice flavor, but the actual pumpkin flavor. That's really interesting.
My father actually tried. He tried homemade bacon ale once.
Bacon ale.
I don't know
Have you
about
heard
that.
of this?
Yeah.
I've never heard of
People
it,
will
but suddenly I
infuse
want
bacon
some.
fat and use it as a flavor with alcohol, and it actually pairs really well.
I
That
don't. I
sounds
disagree. I didn't
disgustingly
like it.
good.
Yes,
It
I
is-
had no idea that was a thing.
It's a thing, and people will put it in. Well, it's really versatile because you can kind of extract the taste from it and use it in basically any drink. I mean, mix it with some vodka, you'll probably be fine, right? But some people, what they'll do is they will put it in like a typical beer or ale mixture, and they'll just kind of brew that right in, and apparently it's good. I'd love to try something like that.
I had a dark stout with bacon flavor to it, and it was.
Ooh.
I figured you would like it, but
I'm a fan of stouts. It's like drinking a loaf of bread. It's awesome.
it's delicious.
Guinness.
Yes.
Guinness is awesome.
Yes, it is. That's my favorite.
I got to drink
I'm
an
a
entire
Smiths person.
6-pack.
Mostly.
I took a case of Guinness over to my sister's house, and it was me,
Proud of
Ken,
you.
my sister, her girlfriend, my mother, her boyfriend, and I drank the whole thing because no one else wanted any. I'm like, this is awesome. It's all
Which you probably
mine.
didn't get that drunk off because it's only 4% alcohol.
Yeah, I also had vodka and other stuff while I was there, so I did get drunk just not off the Guinness.
There's a bar in Austin called Fido's, an Irish bar, and then
Fido's.
Fido's, and they make some really good Irish stout. Love that place. They also have they had an Irish death metal band there during RTX. One night I did go to dinner with my best friend, and we went to Fido's, and there was an Irish folk slash death metal band. I forgot their name now.
Oh.
It was very
Oh,
interesting. It
cool.
was very interesting.
That would be something
yeah,
I'd like
that's-
to hear.
Yeah, I mean that was probably my biggest one of the biggest things I loved about Austin was there were a lot of local microbreweries. There was a bar downtown called Bitter Inn. I think I mentioned this in the podcast before. There was a place called Bitter Inn where it was a microbrewery slash bar, and you walk in and they have a giant chalkboard. They would have a giant chalkboard just with written of all the brews, and they would write kind of what's comparable to that. So if you wanted, a hyphen wise, and they would tell you, here's what we have, blah blah blah, what's in it, and then in parentheses to kind of let you know, a hyphen wise. Okay, I can try that then, and it's all done right there in the microbrewery in that bar. So
Wow.
I loved that place. I was sad when I was almost in tears when that burned down.
We have something kind of like that here in Raleigh. I cannot remember what the place is called. It's something like the bike shop or something along those lines. They have all these different like bicycle gears up on the wall, and they're all connected together with this massive bike chain, and you can actually like crank this lever, and all these wheels and gears and stuff will start spinning on the wall, and it's all backlit with these different colored like LED lights, and in the background they have all their what's it called? The giant containers that they brew the beer in. What are those called?
Kegs.
Help me.
No, they're not kegs.
No.
Shoot, I forgot what
I
they're
know.
called
Oh, good. You can't remember either.
No.
Those things. They're back there. So, and then they've got the chalkboard that they write out everything they've got available at the time. That's the last place I had a locally brewed beer, and it was a phenomenal experience. They had they're pet friendly, and they had the it used to be a bike garage if I remember right. So they had these big garage doors that were wide open because it's still pretty warm out. So they had a breeze coming through. They had the music, they had the lights, they had these weird gears all over the place, and then you have as much beer as you can want. And they have menus for nearby restaurants because they don't serve food there; they only serve beer. But if you want food, they have menus to all the nearby restaurants that you can walk to, and you can get food there, and then come back for more beer.
Nice. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Uh-huh.
Everybody got suddenly quiet. What's up with that? Did we drop? Did people drop?
No, I'm just
I muted for a second to listen to metal music.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah,
metal.
did you see that?
For now.
Yes, I love the metal pigeon. That's great.
And
Did
I'm
you guys all click that link?
drinking my Disiorno.
I am.
You classy motherfucker. Actually, speaking of which, I have some tea from a company called David's Tea, and they sell
Brag about
loose
it.
teas, and they sell some really good stuff. And we found one. We found one that it's called amaretto, and boy, does it smell like amaretto. It is. Oh, it's gorgeous. The smell alone is just. It's orgasmic.
Well, you gotta share.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what I'm looking forward to most about wintertime. I hate wintertime. I hate being cold. I hate the cold. But
What?
it gets. I'm from Michigan, okay? I ran away from the north because it gets
The
fucking
North
cold.
Michigan.
Yes. Well,
Yeah, just
you know,
because you're in 100-degree weather all the time, the cold sucks, dude. Cold
yeah,
sucks.
it's nice. So that's what I like. It gets cold enough here to where we maybe get one snow, but when it gets chilly out here, that's when I break out my tea set and I start brewing tea. And you sweeten it with some honey, and I've got loose leaf green tea. I've got some regular brown teas, and I have like to go to Divana and get their other types of like herbal teas. Like, oh, it's just so much fun.
So Dark, that's adorable and all, but you know what you should be doing?
What should I be doing? Tell me.
You should be pairing every tea you ever drink with whiskey. That'll solve all your problems. It'll get you right through the winter. Promise me. I
Or
promise you.
Whiskey. Or
you take all your tea
Put
bags
whiskey in
and you
your
put them
tea,
together.
and it's wonderful because you can have the buzz of alcohol, but you can have the warmth of tea. So if you really need to go to bed and you're just not able to go to bed, it's really nice to have. Like,
I really
sit
should
down with a
drink
book and
more
have a hot toddy.
whiskey. I don't drink a lot of whiskey because my father and grandfather and my uncle are all or were all big time alcoholics, and they loved
Oh.
whiskey. So like I just tend to avoid it just because of the memories
Yeah.
of all that. But
Oh,
like
sorry.
no, I really like I'm thinking
Man,
to
thanks
myself
for being
out
a
loud.
bummer, Indy.
Harry, I'm trying to get you to guzzle whiskey.
Way to go, Indy.
Yeah, good job.
I really
Should have known. You should have known.
No, I really should give it a chance though, because I don't drink whiskey just because I associate it with like bad memories. But I should make new memories with whiskey and make them good memories.
Treat it as a treat. That's how I have my whiskey. Because
Oh, have
I
good
buy
memories of whiskey.
I buy expensive whiskey, so for me, it's definitely something that I have from time to time. It's something that you want to sit down and sip. It's not an I'm going clubbing, I'm a white girl, so I'm going to drink this whole whiskey. It's not
Why
that.
can't
that's
black girls
tequila.
like it?
Oh God, I can't stand tequila.
No, but that's the
It
drink.
gives me such a stomach ache.
One,
Love that shit.
I think I
never
told
tried it.
Webwave this how to know when you have a sure thing. If you're out clubbing and she's dancing with you and she's down in tequila shots, it's a sure thing.
I kind of want to see
Tequila.
Wub at a club. I'm just going to say I'm very disappointed he's not here. I missed him twice.
It's okay. He would probably be, mashing on his keyboard and.
No, that's
Yeah.
Wes. Wes
Yeah, I
is-
thought that was
Yeah.
Wes.
Oh, Wes, that was
Wes
Wes.
is-
who did that last
Wes
time?
is always making the click, 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 click.
and then he
And we
hits
did
that
it
mouse.
again.
Yeah.
Why did we bring Wes up? Now he's gonna be like, you guys talked about me on the podcast. I feel
We
so
always
happy
talk
now.
about him when he's not here. Always.
Whatever.
He
He,
tends to come up
he
a
can
lot.
get his little heart on for hearing his name, and we can move on. And whatever.
Yeah.
That's me.
guys-
Little hard on.
You guys mentioned
Yeah,
me in a
but
podcast.
then he'll be messaging me later, be like, "You guys talked about me on
Well,
the
now
podcast.
he's
That's
definitely
how
going to
awesome
send a
I am."
message because you're talking about sending a message about talking about him.
No, he would message me anyway. He would.
Oh boy.
You guys
There-
mentioned me in a podcast like number 10, and I got really giddy. I was like, oh, they mentioned me. That's cool.
Well, I think I brought this up last week. Lauren Crozer, Lauren on the website. She's done a lot of fan art, and a lot of the Rooster Teeth crew have loved her work. She's the one that did my Halo avatar.
Oh, right.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
okay.
they keep
That looks
on-
good
She
too.
she was
yeah.
they brought her up on the Rooster Teeth podcast 2 weeks ago, and she everybody was just retweeting and tweeting her, and she was like she was watching, I think she was working on something, and I was at my computer and I had the podcast in the background, and I guess I was playing a game or working on something, and they brought up her name, and they were like, yeah, the community member Lauren, and I was typing, wait, did I just hear her name? And then she said she was doing the same thing. I think she was drawing, and she wasn't really paying attention, and she heard her name on the podcast, and they brought up her work and stuff, and that must be a cool feeling, I mean,
Oh yeah.
I think that would be, yeah. Especially like that it had to be good for like her commissions and stuff like that.
yeah.
So everyone's like, "Whoa, wait a minute, that's that chick that they talked about. Will you draw me?"
Well, she had joined the site not even like 6-7 months ago, like just a few months before RTX. I think she joined the site, and she started posting her artwork and doing fan art, and I think her
She
commission
did
started-
some Adventure Time themed like characters that looked like the RT staff.
Yeah, and she started doing commissions, and I think the response was overwhelming because she was like, "Oh, I want to go to RTX, but I don't have the money." I told her, "Why don't you do commissions? I mean, I just paid you some money to do a commission for me. Why don't you do commissions?" She's like, "Yeah, it's a good idea." And she posted, and next thing you know, she said, "Okay, I can go to RTX now."
Like, wow, that's where does she live at?
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Okay,
Minnesota, yeah.
so that's a she raised a lot of money then.
Yes.
That's that plane ticket. Like the trip to RTX wouldn't be bad if it's not for the damn plane ticket for travel.
Yeah, she was one of the first timers to Texas, and she fell in love with Austin too. She's like, "I love
It was my
dude."
first time to Texas too. That's something we have in common.
See?
She and I could totally bond now.
Yes, bond with her. She's a very nice person.
I can't wait to go to Austin for the first time next year.
And then you're just
I'm
gonna
really
light on
excited.
fire and melt.
I'm super excited.
So,
What?
So you're
What was that, Chaos?
Yeah, what were you saying, Chaos?
No. The first time she comes, it's just gonna be like lighting on fire due to the difference in heat.
She's
I
gonna
think
walk
she's
out
going to
of
go and the rest of us
like
can't.
you know, like
oh
the
my
vampires
God.
and Blade, just
It's
combust.
like 100.
Yeah,
It'll be 106 degrees outside, and she will be melting. We'll have to scrape
And
her
I
up
will
off
I've
the
be
made a huge
sidewalk.
mistake.
in sunscreen. Yeah.
She'll
I'm
look like
excited to go
Jack
to
Nicholson
Texas,
in
though.
Batman. She'll be just covered in white, just like
Texas.
yeah. She's gonna
Oh,
get
yeah,
off
I'm
the plane and she's gonna go, "Oh my God."
Yeah, even like by
I'm gonna
my
be dying
standards,
in the plane.
living here in North Carolina, going to Texas was a little bit uncomfortable
Oh yeah.
Wow.
because it's a little bit warmer and the humidity is pretty constant. Which it's usually pretty humid here, but it's really humid.
What was the
Yeah,
difference?
I
What
thought
was the
Georgia
difference?
was bad, but
Go ahead,
Well,
Chaos.
Why is Austin so humid? It's supposed to be in like the mountains,
No,
isn't it?
it's
It's not like Houston
no,
where
no.
it's next to
It's
the ocean.
and I can tell you this. It's people don't understand. It's humid in Austin. It's nothing like Houston. I'm
Okay.
surprised Dark didn't notice a difference the few days he was in Houston, because it's pretty bad here compared to Austin. Like the mornings when you wake up in Houston, when you wake up in the mornings, it's still so humid that you start sweating. In Austin, it's hot, but it's not as humid, so the mornings are manageable until it gets hot, hotter in the daytime. But like if it's 85 degrees, 10 o'clock in the morning, in Houston, it feels like you're swimming in soup. But when you go to Austin at 85 degrees in the morning, you're like, okay, I can manage this. This isn't too bad.
Yeah, Houston
How do
was
you
definitely
deal with
more
that?
miserable. It was
How
bad.
do you even deal with that?
Just how do you deal with sub-zero temperatures?
You just
A
get
really
used to
good
it.
jacket, but how do you defend yourself against the opposite of that? Like it's so easy. It's so easy to protect yourself from the cold because you just put on a jacket, you bundle up, and you prepare for that. But what is the preparation that you take for a swimming in soup day
Nothing.
in Houston, Texas?
That's why I'm a big fan
No?
of the cold. I love colder temperatures, and my philosophy, my idea, my mindset always is, I enjoy the cold because I can always bundle up more to warm up. You can only take so much off in the heat. That's why people that say, "Oh, I love it in the summertime," what the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously, you have $400 light bills for starters because your AC is always on, and then the moment you step outside, you break out in a sweat because it's hot and it's humid. I don't understand those people. I don't. I can't.
'Cause you don't have to wear clothes
visit
when
me
it's
then.
warm out. That's why.
I may
It's
have
awesome.
to. I may have to do that. I may have to go up there and just see what it's like up there because if it's freaking, I've been in New York close to Christmas time when I was looking at colleges,
Ugh.
and I loved it up there. Oh my God! I remember I went,
Horrible.
I went shopping for some stuff because being in Texas, I don't have the right kind of clothing for a New York Christmas. So I remember I was a junior in high school. I
Oh,
went
yeah.
with I went with my aunt and my mother to the mall and we were shopping and I'm like I need something to bundle up and they're like okay how about this jacket no I need a trench coat that's very thick and I need gloves and I need a hat and I need a scarf and I,
Newbies.
it was funny man because just see my going to the and it was hard because in Texas you don't really find that kind of stuff because there's no need for it. You have to go to specialty
Yeah.
shops for that.
How cold does it get down there in the winter?
Well, I mean, we occasionally will get into the 20s. That makes sense.
Occasionally.
Occasionally.
Yeah.
Check this out. When it reaches freezing, we go into
Everybody
Arctic
freaks
Blast 2013. I'm not and Chaos can attest
Oh,
to this.
yeah.
Whenever there's a freeze, it becomes wall-to-wall news coverage. They shut down everything. I mean, it's hilarious.
That's
Georgia's
that's
like
the way it is
Antonio
here
was,
in Raleigh
I think
too.
it was it was either last winter or the winter before that, like school and everything was just shut down. It was, even though there was no actual snow or anything, it was just all the ice. Everything was like a day off basically.
I think he may remember this too. It was I think it was in 2006. There was a big freeze in the hill country in Austin down to San Antonio, and it was like the entire area was shut down for 2 days. I'm not kidding. It iced over. It snowed a little bit, and there was sleet and snow, whatever. I had to stay at a hotel that was next to my radio station because my program director was like, I need people here because we're going to be doing wall-to-wall news coverage. And so, because I was the imaging director at the time, he got us hotel rooms. So I stayed at a hotel next to my radio station because I lived maybe like 15, 20 minutes away. And so I would have to walk through the grass, get to the radio station. And I have a couple pictures I'll post where me and the traffic guy are just kind of hanging out, and there's snow. But it's funny because there's these turnarounds in Austin, and I will tell you this: the one thing about Austin that everyone can love it. The one thing you will hate the most are the roads. The roads are scary. Do not fuck with the roads in Austin; they're dangerous. If you're not a good driver,
Oh yeah.
take city transit because it's a clusterfuck the way they design the roads. But the turnarounds under the freeways are very sharp turns, and people, like I said, don't know how to drive, and they go fucking retarded when it's ice in Texas. So we would record people trying to turn without slowing down, and they're just hitting these
That
walls.
would be so
Bam!
awesome.
And there's another accident.
I mean, we took a camera down maybe like a quarter of a mile down from the radio station, with a microphone, and we were recording. There was a pile of cars because they were all just hitting the walls
Oh
and then hitting each
my.
other, and they were just sitting there.
Jesus.
I mean, it's hilarious. It's comical to see how the state of Texas goes full
Comical
retard.
and tragic.
It is. No, it's tragic.
American highways are so
Those
weird.
poor people.
So
American
they
highways
don't.
really, really are weird though, because
Yeah.
when I was driving to Boston with my dad, there would be highways that were like 5 or 6 lanes like wide, and it just blew my mind to see all of that pavement in one condensed area. Like it just didn't
Oh man,
compute.
you don't even want to see Houston then. We're talking 8-lane highways, and the rule is you go with the flow of traffic. And we drive like fucking demons when it's not rush hour here. So if you're not going 85 on the freeway with a bunch of cars around you, if you can't handle it, you need to get off the road because you will be run off the road. I mean,
Jesus.
that's the one thing about
Yeah.
Houston.
That's the best way of driving.
I
love
am the
it.
complete and utter opposite of that. I hate that so much. I would hate driving there.
Oh man, yeah. I had when I went to college in Austin, I would meet people that had never been to Houston, and they would tell me, "Yeah, I went this weekend to Houston, and you guys."
I almost died.
Yeah, they're like, "You're fucking crazy! Oh my god, you're like going 85, and there's traffic everywhere, and you're all hauling ass. How the hell do y'all do that?" It's like it's just our,
It's
yeah.
easy.
Where do you need to be at 85 miles an hour? All of you. Where do all of you need to be?
Jesus.
It's called reducing commute time.
Yep.
It's
But you
actually
know what?
causing
Atlanta's
bigger
kind of
commute
like that,
time.
isn't it, Ray?
I don't drive. I rarely get out of the house.
See, she's smart. She just knows. She just knows. God,
But
okay,
it
wow,
is
voice crack
pretty
right there.
shit. Whenever I've had to go to work with my dad, coming home and stuff, people are either insane or just isn't moving.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
That's how it is in Chicago a lot of times, which is weird because it's a northern city, but, people in Chicago, they gotta get where they need to go, and so as long as they're not in gridlock, it's probably 85, 90. It's really easy to be going 85 and you're constantly being passed by people in the fast lane going 90. And that's something that I miss a lot about up north that I see less of here in North Carolina, where people respect the fast lane versus the slow lane. So if you're not going to go as fast, you get over towards the right, and if you're going to go fast, you get into the left lane. People in North Carolina are too dumb to use that type of courtesy, so you'll get a dumb schmuck going 60 miles an hour in the fast lane, and everyone has to pass him on the right. Yeah, pisses me the fuck off. But
Technically, he's driving the speed limit.
It's 60. It could be 65 in
Technically.
North Carolina.
yeah, we
Yeah.
have some highways that are marked at 70 miles an hour too.
I refuse to
Mich-
allow myself to get mad at somebody if they're in the passing lane, but they're driving the speed limit. I'm like, I want to pass you, but I can't get mad at you. I refuse to get mad at you because you're doing the right thing. You're going fast, but,
Now get this.
you're passing people. You're just going
So
slow.
you have places like North Carolina and places like Texas, which are warm, and you don't have problems with ice most of the time. And like most of the default highway speeds are about 65 miles an hour. In
That's
Michigan,
about the same here.
the most highways are 75 miles an hour.
Ooh.
Which moving to other states was a big shock to me. Like, I had to go a whole 10 miles an hour
Life in the
slower.
slow lane.
I'm like, the hell? Why is this 65 miles an hour? Or what was even worse is when you got on the ones that were 55 miles an hour. I'm like,
Someplace maybe?
how is this even possible? Like, even in the wintertime when there's snow and ice, I can easily go 70 miles an hour on these highways. Why are these highways marked for 65 miles an hour where they don't have any ice on them? Why? Oh, it was so hard for me to wrap my head around. Now that I'm used to the crazy ass driving here, like people, I know how people drive in Texas. I didn't drive, but I rode the bus, but I got to experience it a little bit. The people in North Carolina are just stupid drivers. Like people in Texas, they drive fast, they drive crazy, but there's a pattern to it. So it's something you can adapt to.
Yeah, there is a method to our madness. I will admit that.
It's really, to me, it's really similar to Chicago. Like driving in Chicago really stresses my sister out, but there's a pattern to it. Once you get used to it, you can adapt to it and you can keep up with it. And you're like, okay, you can kind of predict what everyone's going to do around you.
Yeah.
Here, people are just stupid. Like I can never figure out what the hell anybody is going to be doing next. You'll have someone that's all the way over, 3 lanes over in the left-hand lane, and then they see their exit coming up, and they'll just swerve right through all these different lanes of traffic, making people slam on their brakes. I'm like, the fuck, people? You knew your exit was coming up how many miles in advance? Why? Why?
I'm curious as to how the roadways work in Canada compared to the U.S.
Well, I can't really speak for overly much because I've only lived on the long term in the Maritimes, which is the East Coast, which, as we discussed on my first podcast, is the Canadian ghetto. And I've lived in the North, which is a complete whole other thing. The roads are interesting there because they don't plow the roads.
Don't you just dog sled everywhere?
You can.
Mm.
You can.
With perfect seriousness, she says that.
With absolute
People do that.
seriousness. I can say, if you wanted to, I don't know if
Has
you
anyone
on the
mounted a
main road.
moose?
In what way?
Yeah.
Mounted.
And
Depends
any way you
on
want
what
to
you
think
mean by
about it.
mounting.
Yeah.
Oh.
Specify.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and accept your friend request. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, I noticed we weren't friends, apparently.
Let's change that. Anyways, yeah, the roads in Yellowknife are interesting because we didn't plow the roads. They would let it pack down. They would throw gravel, dirt, what have you, on it, and then just use that as your traction. The main drag of town was actually entirely a school zone, so you were forced to go slow by the law anyway. So driving is not all that bad in Yellowknife because you're forced to take it easy on the road and go slowly, just from the threat of, the ice, but also because the entire main road of town is basically a school zone. So you have no choice but to be slow. It is
Might as well
slippery
walk.
though. I drove with my dad on the ice road. In a big old truck, we drove on the ice road and went out to actually drive pretty far out on it. So that was interesting.
That's the way my I don't want to call it my hometown, but the town that I first lived in. I remember first living in before moving out to Coloma, then to Benton Harbor. This little tiny town called Covert, Michigan.
I think. Well,
It's located in a giant swamp. They were known for their blueberries because blueberries grow in swamps, sand and swamp. And because of the swampy nature of the area, they have these really deep ditches on either side of their road. And because it's a small town, they also don't like to plow their roads very often. They're a big fan of the let's just put sand and salt down on top of the snow and let people drive on that. So in the wintertime, when I go back out there, my grandmother, she still lives out there. So in the wintertime, when you go out there to visit your family, you have to drive cautious as fuck, because if you slide, you're going to land up in one of those 3-foot deep ditches, and there's no way to get out without calling a tow truck. And yeah, you might accidentally total your car, because the ditches, when they dig them, they dig them with a backhoe. And so they don't have those gentle sloping sides. They're kind of like a moat
Oh yeah.
in a way, almost vertical side. So your car when they go down, your tail end is like sticking straight up in the air. There's no gentle slope. It's just like a straight drop off on either side of the road.
That's just terrifying.
Yeah. The first time when I first got my driver's license and I had to drive out to my grandmother's house, I was like white knuckling it all the way. like this is really fucking scary. And then you put the brakes on and it's all packed snow and ice and the anti-lock brakes are going brrrr, like, oh, I'm gonna die.
The bear's gonna eat me.
Yeah, you just wind up sliding right past her house and have to put it in reverse and back up and hope no one's behind me so I can get back.
That's
You just
Fortunately,
keep on
the roads are on
sliding
a
too
grid
much each
pattern.
time.
Yeah, 'cause that's the good thing. I mean, the roads, they may be treacherous if you get off to the side, but they're on a grid pattern and they're all in straight lines. So, yeah, if you miss your wherever it is you're trying to get to, you'll eventually stop on a road. You're not going to like run off into it in the side of a ditch. Everything's just like perfectly
So they're
straight
like
lines.
kind of like if you looked at like a suburban grid from above, how it'd be all like neatly put out in lines and stuff, kind of like that.
Yeah, only it's really rural. So just imagine like each block being the size of like 6 city blocks, and then
6 forests.
yeah, then you
6
kind of
forests long for
yeah.
each and every block.
Yeah, the blocks are absolutely huge because it's a lot of just like farmland, blueberries
Okay.
and trees and everything. So yeah, it's all grid, but the grid pattern is really big. You can't
So
really.
it's more like a maze than a grid.
Well, I guess if if you go one direction, you're going to wind up towards
one
like
direction.
one direction will take you to Benton Harbor, another direction will take you towards Riverside, and another direction will take you towards Benton Heights, and the other direction will take you towards quote unquote downtown Covert. It's barely a downtown, but yeah, it's almost impossible to get lost because there's only 4 directions. The roads only go 4 directions.
You know, change the topic real quick. I just
Yes?
noticed my avatar on Skype and it reminded me. Did anyone else watch the series finale of Breaking Bad?
Wait,
I have not seen it yet.
I see no avatar right now. You're just a generic blue character.
Really?
Yeah.
I see your Breaking
I
Bad
am
avatar.
Heisenberg.
Maybe we're not like
I
friends
see
on Skype or
Heisenberg.
something.
Yeah,
That's
That could be the case.
That's
Oh, so
probably-
you're seeing like the generic.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I see yours, and we're not friends on Skype.
Oh, that's
Same.
weird.
It's a kitty.
It's a
Did
kitty.
you draw that?
I did not. I
love
wish.
it.
No,
Aw,
it's
it's
the
adorable. I
cat
love
that's
it.
the Green
It's a
Lantern.
Green
Yeah.
Lantern kitty.
The Green Lantern cat. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
It's like Chip. Chip was a
No,
squirrel.
Yeah, raccoon. I think.
I have not seen any of the Breaking Bad series.
I just got to season 4. I got to the box
I'm not
cutter
gonna, I'm
episode.
not going to spoil anything, but season 4 is fucking
Me
amazing.
neither.
But it is.
Yeah.
I've made journal posts, and I know a lot of people are. Oh, I'm tired of hearing about it, but it is by far my most favorite show ever.
I can't say I've never noticed that you were a fan.
And you know,
Not
you,
one.
Yeah,
you
it's
know
a
what's
great
funny
show.
is that I caught on to it at the start of season 3. I had heard about the show, and I heard about it, and then a friend of mine was discussing it with me. He was like, "You have to watch it. This is a show I know you will appreciate. I mean, it's very good writing, crazy ass story. The concept behind it, the premise is great, but it's just a good show, and I know you will like it." So I sat down with my wife. We watched the first 2 episodes of season 1, and I think we've had this discussion several times on this podcast. But season 1's a bit of a grind. You have to get past season 1. It's only 6
I
episodes.
think the first 2 episodes are really set up nicely because it's like kind of like a movie,
yeah,
and then the
Yeah.
other 4 episodes after are just kind of like
they drag a little
set
bit.
up.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
set up. They
Yeah.
set up, but
It took them like 5 years to kill those drug dealers in the first season.
yeah, it's
Five
yeah,
years.
and we went back and we watched the entire series last week on just to lead up to this final episode, and we watched that first season, and I told my wife, I tell everybody you have to get past season 1. It's and you watch it and you understand it better now when you go back and you've seen everything that's happened, but even still you can we were sitting and it's like, man, this season 1 just feels like it's taking fucking forever. But Dark, you have to watch it. You have to sit down and watch. You have Netflix, right?
It's really,
I do.
really good to watch in bulk. I think
Yeah.
it really helps.
It's
Watching
It's great.
slow
Yeah.
shows
I
in
watched
bulk,
it
I think,
on
really
some
helps.
some shows you can deal with watching in pieces, but it's definitely a show you can spend a weekend watching a couple of seasons and you'll get hooked.
Well, I do have 3 weeks of
Yeah.
Free time.
no work to do. So
You know what, man? I'm
Well,
gonna tell you.
All right, so what haven't you
Enjoy.
watched then?
Yeah.
You need to watch a lot.
Well, right now I need to finish watching. I need to watch the final season of Fringe. I've got it on Blu-ray, but I've not watched it yet.
Okay.
I need to watch the first season of The Walking Dead, which I also have on Blu-ray, but I
You can
haven't
kind of
watched
put
yet.
that one on hold. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, go to Breaking
yeah.
Bad.
I obviously need to watch Breaking Bad, and I've recently found a new show that I want to watch called Revolution. I think it
parents
was on
watched that.
ABC. Yeah, it's the first. I watched the first episode, and it's really interesting. It's 15 years after the entire planet loses power, and subsequently, like the degeneration of human society, and like everyone's living in small communities, and now they're trying to figure it.
Did that
figure
get
out-
renewed for a second season?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
Yes, it is. It is renewed for a second season. So I've only watched the first episode, and it's got me hooked now, and I've been looking forward to watching the second episode now that I've when I had some free time, which was gonna be this weekend, but I was gonna watch it tomorrow since I don't have to go to work now. Like, but the premise of the show is like right up my alley, very science fiction-y, but also like could be probable, and I think it's either from I think it's from Bad Robot too. It has that very
Cool.
it has a very
So
like
it's a
almost
J.J. Abrams
Lost.
production then.
I think he's involved in it somehow. I'm not entirely sure, but it feels a lot
His
like
people are on it.
Lost. Yeah, it feels a lot like Lost. It feels a lot like what was like Once Upon a Time. That's another one that it feels a lot like. I finally got caught up with the second season of Once Upon a Time. Now I'm eagerly anticipating the third season. That show has just blown me away.
I just
Have you
wrapped
watched
up.
Game of Thrones yet?
Yes, I love Game of Thrones.
that's another one I've got to watch. It's on my list. Game of Thrones.
That should probably be top of your list. I'm just gonna say that.
I can't be fucked. I can't be arsed to really watch it. I don't care.
Really?
I just don't.
Okay.
I watched some of the
just
first
can't.
season, and that was only because my favorite actor was in it, and I knew he was gonna die, so I was like, okay,
Shanti.
whatever.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh,
What spoiler? Everybody.
it's all the
fucking
people that
dies.
die. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, everybody
dies. It's like the type of negative
don't
song.
know.
Everybody
I mean,
dies.
you have to give it a
Like, I
chance
feel like
before
I
you
should
just say
try,
no.
but at the same
sure.
time, I just don't care. I don't.
You know,
Is it
Break-
just
I'd
because
rather
everybody
watch
talks
Breaking
about
Bad.
it?
I feel like Breaking Bad is just more up my alley in comparison.
you
to
know
something
why?
like,
Because
Game of
it's a
Thrones.
crazy premise, but it feels real. That's the thing about Breaking Bad.
Yes.
I mean, there's-
exactly. Like if I wanted fantasy, I would watch Lord of the Rings, or I would play Skyrim or an Elder Scrolls game. Like I don't care for how Game of Thrones goes about it. I prefer a little bit more of a fantasy feel.
I'm okay.
guess.
I liked Game of Thrones. Did I fall in love with it? No. There was. I'm gonna say this now.
I fell in love with the books.
Indy, it recommended Orange is the New Black, the Netflix series.
Yes.
And I had put it off. I put it off. Finally, last week I got into it and I finished up the last episode yesterday. It is a very, very good show. It really
Very
is.
good.
What's it about?
Lots of lesbians.
Yes.
Lots of lesbians.
Yes. You know what though? It's funny because everyone makes the commentary about it is, yeah, who wouldn't want a bunch of watch a show about a bunch of hot lesbians, in prison lesing out. That's it's not even that bad. It's not as
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
not as
'cause
gratuitous.
I'll
It's like
raise
that
my
in the
hand on
Game-
that
no,
one. Like
Game
that
of
doesn't
Thrones-
really have any interest.
Well, Game of Thrones is more
It's not.
like
It's
the
not.
first few
It's not overly
episodes where it's
sexualized.
all-
No, Game of Thrones is more
Yeah.
gratuitous than believe it or not, it is more than this show. Orange is the New Black. It's based off of memoirs of a woman that was in prison for a year for a crime she committed 10 years prior. So
She was so close to the statute of limitations, like she was like that close.
Yep. And she was a lesbian for a short time, and then she decided to go ahead and bat for on the other side of the plate, and she got engaged. And basically, it's her life. It's duality of her personality. It's kind of like the whole Batman and Bruce Wayne thing. Which is the real person? You start off to understand her as one person, and you're like, okay, so which one is the real person? And that's kind of they play off. It's not even
Yeah.
It's not even like obvious. That's not even the premise. It's an underlining tone to the story that you kind of, if you read into these your shows pretty quick, then you'll see it. You'll see, okay, there's a duality there, for her, the protagonist, but she is pretty much her own antagonist in this show, and it's very good
Yeah.
because you learn the stories of everyone and why they're in there, and you kind of get feel somewhat sympathetic for these inmates, though you're also reminded why they're there. So it's a very good show, very good.
I will say that the first few episodes, kind of like the first few episodes of Breaking Bad, it kind of starts off. Well, I mean, not in this way for Breaking Bad, but for the first few episodes of Orange Is the New Black, it starts off as stereotypically as you can possibly imagine. Like, the Jewish husband, or the Jewish fiance, he's really clearly Jewish, and she's just this white
Jason
waspy
Biggs.
woman, and her first few days in the prison, they go pretty as predictably as you think it would
Yeah.
for a white woman in prison in a racially mixed prison. Let's be real, that's what it is. So you expect that culture clash, and you see that coming, but once you start really paying attention to the characters,
You get
and the interesting
you
part
get
about it is
invested
that
in those characters too.
yes. My favorite thing about it, though, is the fact that it's not about this one woman. She's more of a catalyst
Yep.
for the rest of it because it becomes about all of her friends as well, because it goes into their backstories
Yep.
as well. So they do a very good job of not just making it one woman's journey, they make it every woman's journey,
Yep.
you know?
I really
That does sound
it's
interesting,
it
actually.
is a very good show. It really is. If you say you're off for 3 weeks, and I recommend just taking a tablet or your phone with you out to lunch and watching an episode of. Don't. If it's a tablet, don't have it out in the open with children around because there is
Yeah.
nudity and there's some pretty out there scenes, but it's not as raunchy as Game of Thrones. It's not. Um, but there are very visceral moments, very real moments that you kind of
Yes.
just you can relate to. There's someone that you know that's that person, or there's a friend that you've heard their story that reminds you of that person, and it at first I was like, okay, the scene, the show opens up and there's tits on the street. Okay, all right, I
Yes,
like
in like the first
I
five
like the
minutes.
direction of this show, but then
Oops.
after that you're kind of like, where'd the titties go? Are they coming back? and,
I knew you'd say
and
that.
but
Knew
but
it.
after that the writing's very good, and the executive producer is Genji Ko. I keep forgetting how to pronounce her name. Genji Kohen or Kohenji. She is the writer, the creator of Weeds, which was a decent show for a few seasons, and then it jumped to Shark. But very similar style of writing as the first few seasons of Weeds. So
I never
very
saw
cool.
Weeds. I was constantly seeing the series, the box sets on sale when I worked at Best Buy, but I'd never actually watched the
It
show.
was funny, and I think after season 4, it lost a lot of steam, kind of like Dexter did. And rather than just wrapping it up like Breaking Bad did, showing that their finale, and I'll say this, a quick tangent. Breaking Bad is probably one of the best finales in terms of how they wrapped up the show, and the final episode wasn't some artsy fartsy, you interpret it however you want to ending, like The Sopranos, Lost. Apparently, Dexter just screwed the pooch on their finale, and this
I heard the same
this
thing, yeah,
one
but
this one you felt like, boom, yes, this feels good. When
It
you
wrapped up nicely.
yeah, and you know what? It's funny to say this, but I was sad inside because I knew it was ending, but at the same time, it went out on top, and that's how a show should go out, not being drawn
And
out.
that seems to be like universally how people feel about it, and everybody's kind of on the same page. Not a lot of people are disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course there are people that are making up stupid stories. Like they're trying to find reasons to be disappointed. Like, well,
Well,
X
this is the
thing.
internet.
Well, yeah, exactly. This is the internet. That's the reply everyone should make to that.
That's anything. If anybody likes anything, there's somebody who hates it just because people like it. That's
Exactly.
anything ever.
But
So
the overall opinion is this was a great ending to the show. So I recommend it. And the last half of season 5, quote unquote, season 6. Those 8 episodes aren't on Netflix yet, but there is a way around that, and I'll throw this out there for people listening. If you reroute your IP through
Are you suggesting illegal measures?
no, this isn't illegal. You can go. You can
I like
purchase.
how you say that all muffled. It's like
No, you can purchase a VPN.
I don't think anybody's listening anyway.
You can purchase a VPN account, and that way you can log on to Netflix through their UK server. And in the UK, they put up every season immediately after it ends. They don't wait a few months. So if you can log
Ooh la
into
la.
if you can reroute your IP address through overseas, which is not illegal.
Are you telling me to create a proxy server?
Yes.
I'm just trying to sound smart.
I didn't want to go
just
overly
use a Tor
technical,
browser. Get the
but
engine going.
you do that and log into Netflix via a UK server, you will have all of the episodes. But I recommend Orange is the New Black
That's
and
cool.
Breaking Bad.
Have you guys seen House of Cards? I
Have
was thinking
not
about
yet.
watching that.
It's on my list.
No.
That's
No, I have not.
It's right there, readily available, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll get to it.
Every time you log in, you see it, you're like, I'll get to it later.
It's literally right in my face.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like,
Every
I
time I log in, I'm
promise.
like, no, I'll get to it later.
It's like that, or am I going to watch another episode of Buffy that I've seen 7 times? Buffy.
I couldn't get into Buffy.
There's nothing wrong.
Really? Oh,
I
I loved it. It was
couldn't do
the
it.
funniest. I watched that with my dad when I was little, and I looked up to her so much. Looked up to Buffy so bad.
I
just
tell you
love
what
Spike.
show I do want to see though is that the crazy ones, the one that with Robin Williams. It's
Just because
the
Robin
new-
Williams, I wanted to be good in it. Also, the Michael J. Fox show, I want it to be funny, you know? It's just like, because I love Michael J. Fox, and it.
The Crazy Ones has gotten really good critical reviews so far.
Has it?
So that's very promising, I think.
I was a
I
bit
just-
worried. I thought Robin Williams' time has come and gone. That's why he went into television, because the box office dried up for him. That's what I thought. But if it's a good show, that's different. Because it can.
I mean,
Well,
I wouldn't consider going to TV a bad career move. I mean, I know
No,
Hollywood
not
considers it that, but
Vince Gilligan said this last week at the Emmys when Breaking Bad won Best Drama, and he's right. With all of the filth that's on television, all the fucking reality shows and all that crap, we are even besides
We're still
all
in the
that,
golden age of
we
TV.
are in a golden age of television. And you know where it all started? The Sopranos. It did. That's what I feel. That
Yeah, there is a lot of good stuff out there.
you know with
I mean, you know what? I wouldn't call it the golden age of television because that was a private channel. I would say when they started putting quality shows on like regular cable TV,
no.
I would say that's kind of the era.
No, but it was original programming that was able to push the envelope, and then so they
Mm-hmm.
did that on cable because I'll show
But
my
it wasn't really cable.
I'll show my it was premium channel, but I'll show
Right.
my age, but and people don't know this, but for the longest time on cable television, they were, even though it's paid services, they were highly censored by the FCC, and and technically they shouldn't be, because they are not what's called home intrusive, meaning that's the definition of how they censor products through the airwaves and through television and radio. If it's home intrusive, meaning the signal comes into your home without your control, then the FCC has to monitor it for obscenity. Well, cable television isn't. It's a paid service. But even
Are they non-essential?
I'm sorry, what?
Are they non-essential? The
They are
FCC?
non-essential. FCC is shut down right now.
Oh, nice.
So
Oh.
yes,
Were they like cut from the government funding
yes,
or
they are.
something?
They are. They are
Okay,
non-essential.
they must-
So
their
what's
offices are
stopping
closed.
people from just being nude on TV?
Nothing. But the problem is
I don't know. Let's go do that right now.
Well, the opposite-
That actually sounds like a lot of
Why
fun.
don't
Yeah.
we?
I'm for it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I'm for it. Let's do it.
So someone get on the nightly news and just streak off back and forth behind the news camera.
Who's closest?
Be that guy. He streaks
Or
across the football
somehow
match,
update
the,
this
like,
just to a
college football
massive
match.
video call, and then everyone just sees us streaming, dancing around.
Everybody just show their butts. That's it. Then you just put butts on
Stream
camera.
naked.
But but
The
with,
Forum Thread podcast. There you go.
when the Sopranos were very popular, we were in the thick of reality TV with all those crappy shows like American Idol, all those shows, and it just pushed towards original programming, and then you started seeing it on cable television like on AMC now, but I think he's right. We're in a golden age of television. There's just so many good shows left and right that are coming out, and I'm very happy because for the longest time, I didn't watch TV. I watched my sports. I'd play video games. I'd read books. I stayed away from television. I did because for about a 10-year span, it was just really bad. It was
But
really
yeah,
bad.
there was. I did the same thing because there was nothing good on. I think actually the Harry Potter actually had a bit to do with this too. If you look at the theme that they have going in movies, and it kind of started with Harry Potter, and you're seeing it in Marvel, where you're having movies play out like extended TV series, where you have the entire like you have each book turned into a movie, but the movie is a series, and the series has the same characters, and you watch them age over a period of time. It's almost exactly like as if it were a TV show where you have the same characters playing the same role over the course of their lifetime. It's not exactly the same thing, but
So TV
10
shows are doing what books have done for a long time.
Yeah, well, and
Yeah.
the reason why is because it's a the goal is to have the television series on for a long time so it can become syndicated, so they can just sell it out and make a shitload of money. Well, the problem with that is a concept can only hang on for so long. So there was a fear to put a miniseries like a short-term concept down into television format, but you're starting to see how popular they are, and they're making shit tons of money off of it. So fuck it, let's just do it that way now. Because
Well, yeah, 'cause
I mean, Breaking
the
Bad was
numbers are
essentially a
in.
miniseries. You know, it was a miniseries
Yeah.
that they were able to stretch out. The Sopranos, the same
That's
thing.
how AMC works.
I love
But the
Sopranos.
AMC is
Oh
a
my
shit
God.
company, man. They really are. They
Yeah,
had these
three good shows.
they had they had good shows fall in their lap, and they mistreated the fans by this whole idea of breaking up the seasons. And that's just crap, man. That's just crap. I really don't like the way AMC handled things because they have some really good shows on, and then they're trying to just stuff the other crap in your face while this good programming's on, and
Absolutely. Like The Talking Dead, like the show that comes on after The
Wow.
Walking Dead. Oh, I hate it. Oh my god. Like, it's not even the main characters. It's like the weird secondary characters.
Yeah, but
that
I
just
really like Chris
happen
Hardwick.
to get killed that episode. Like, I don't give a damn about that shit. And I just don't.
the only reason I know Chris Hardwick is because he was on MTV on a show with Jenny McCarthy when she was at her fucking hottest. That was the only reason why I know that guy.
Mhm.
Singled Out that was the only reason I watched that
When
show.
she had like that shorter hairstyle, like
Yes,
yes. Oh, she was
I
hot
am
then.
happy to
Yep.
think about this. Yes.
Mhm.
Shall I leave you guys alone with your memories?
We're just gonna go. We're gonna go do some web surfing here shortly. But,
Hey,
Yeah,
now.
me too.
but no,
Be right back, guys.
Breaking Bad. Dark, you have to give it a shot, man. I recommend that one. Orange is the New Black. Game of Thrones is a really good one too. If you like the whole mythical storyline, which I'm sure you do, that's something you can get into. The problem with Game of Thrones is I don't know why, but I feel exhausted after I watch an episode. Like I'm tired.
Oh, that's the way I felt watching True Blood. There's like so much drama in each episode. I'm like, I'm
episodes
tired
like that
now.
definitely feel a lot longer than, say, other shows that aren't quite as interactive or so much drama.
Well, Game of Thrones is on HBO, so it actually plays for a full hour. There aren't any commercial breaks.
And they still give you kind of a reprieve between episodes with some characters' storylines too, so they don't
Yeah.
get too stale.
Yeah.
Which is,
That's the one good thing about that show is that you meet these characters and then then you'll have an episode where you don't see a couple of the actual main ones. You'll see secondary characters for an episode here and there.
I think that's really smart. They did that with Lost. They do that with Once Upon a Time too, where you have a decent-sized cast of main characters, but it doesn't always focus on the same characters every single time. It gives you time away so your heart can grow fonder of the absent ones.
Well, now that you have a few weeks off, you should get while the getting's good, man.
I've written it on the top of my list.
Yeah, get while the getting's good. You can knock these things out. So,
Just sit down and just
And we
not move from your couch all the 3 weeks watching every single show you miss.
I can't do that. I so need to go to the gym tomorrow. I didn't go today because I told Ken after I got off work today, because literally I had spent all day at work and I was less than an hour away from being done for the day, and I got called into my boss's office and he said, look, we appreciate you putting the 2 weeks in, but with the way things are right now, we have too many detailers, not enough detail bays, and the workload is lightening up for the season, so we'd actually like to pay you out. And so you'll still be paid for these 2 weeks, but today's going to be your last day. You know, you're still going to be on our payroll, you're still technically an employee, but we don't need you here. Like, oh, well, okay. So
Okay.
I was kind of in a state of shock after that. Like, I had this plan of, working for the 2 weeks and being able to say my goodbyes to everybody, and just kind of having the plug pulled in was like, what? And half the guys had already left, so
Yeah.
I'm planning on going back next week. I'm gonna make a cake, and I'm
Aw.
gonna go back next week, and we're all gonna have lunch together at probably a Mexican restaurant of choice, and then come back to the shop and have some cake and say my goodbyes to everybody, and then
You're
actually
adorable,
peace out.
Dark.
Well,
You're
I was
adorable.
gonna say,
Well,
yeah,
he's
you're so
spent-
gay.
I spent 2.5 years with these guys, sharing a shop with them. I spent more time with them than I do with my family. And they're all cool as fuck too. This is the first place I've ever worked where I've enjoyed the people I've worked with so much it has distracted me from not
Are they hot?
enjoying the job that I do. A couple of
You
them
really are just a simple creature, aren't you? She's like anyone hot.
Well, he says he's really interested.
Oh, so you're saying he's a simple
Well, he did have
creature.
that one dream
Yes.
that he posted.
Oh yeah, the dream journal.
Oh, yes, I remember this journal.
Found you.
Yeah.
Does Kid know about that?
Probably.
I
I don't
was
remember.
wondering if I was reading a Fabio novel. I was like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, I have weird
Fabio.
dreams sometimes. That was a good weird dream. But yeah,
Wait,
it was a little
remind me of this dream.
that was a dream. That was the dream that I had where I was having sex with one of my coworkers.
Oh, right. I remember this journal. Did you guys already talk about this and then I just tune out for like 3 seconds?
He's like, I'll be back.
But yeah, that was one of the cute ones. But and ironically, that's not the one that I've seen naked. So yeah.
Oh.
So
I've seen pictures of one
Go
of my
on.
teachers naked.
Well, you're heading into the wacky world of call centers, correct?
yeah, this will be really
Yeah,
interesting.
I think I replied to you on Rooster Teeth and said, get ready because there's a lot of drama, so you gotta.
You'll be running that place in a week.
Oh, you're gonna probably have very
Well,
interesting
I'm not-
podcast stories after like a long day
Yeah,
of
you will.
customers.
I probably
Ugh.
will.
I
know
fucking
I
hate
had
the
some
call center I work at.
when I worked at
hate
Best
it.
Buy. I had some really
I thought you worked at
interesting
Apple.
stories dealing with the customers there.
I do.
Ah,
These are going to be like professional retards, so that's going to be even better.
It's an Apple call center.
It's an Apple
We
call
do tech
center, so she
support.
gets those
It's-
retarded questions. So should I buy the iPhone 5C or not?
That actually happened. Actually, like
why
the
does
week
the
of
C
keynote.
come in
you,
colors?
you tell them to buy the 6. You always tell them to
Actually,
buy the
my-
6.
Well, yesterday I actually got this some young Louisiana chick with a thick ass accent, like a thick ass Southern accent, and it was so disconcerting because we mostly get Canadian calls, and I somehow got routed an American call. It was just so weird and so odd to hear this.
You just
thick-ass
wanted to
Georgian
talk to
accent,
her. You didn't even want to help her. You just wanted to
I just
engage
wanted
in
to talk to her.
conversation.
I did not want to help her. I just wanted to keep this chick talking.
I'm
It's
having
so
a problem with
odd.
my Apple iPhone.
Listen,
Can you
sugar.
give me a hand?
Oh, yeah, we actually have a lot of hicks in Canada, so we do get kind of stupid calls like that.
I understand. It's so user-friendly.
Yeah, somehow Steve Jobs had a dream of making a series of devices that were so streamlined and so easy to use that anybody could use them, unlike the computers at the time. Somehow, a large portion of society has gone completely against his dream and made it crumble and rot by their stupidity.
Whatever. He's buried
Oh
in
my
a coffin
God.
of pure gold. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that happy thought, it has been.
Are we ending on
about-
that?
It's
Sound
been
on a
about
happy
an
note.
hour and a half, so it's time for us to call it a
Yeah, we need
night.
to call it night.
And I'm gonna picture Steve Jobs in his solid gold coffin as I fall asleep
Linux
tonight.
forever.
Don't have a dream about that one.
Linux forever. That's all I have to say.
Linux and Ubuntu, yes.
Yummy.
All right, everybody. I bid thee a good night. We will see.